Hey everyone, I'm Maya. Welcome to my case study about Rhea. Stage 1, Prenatal, Conception to Birth. Teratogens are any type of factor that can have a negative impact on prenatal development. Rhea was exposed to environmental pollution, specifically mercury. This happened during sushi night with the girls. The consequences of this exposure include potential brain damage, affecting cognitive processing, attention, and memory. In order to remedy this, Rhea may need some extra help to make sure that she's able to thrive. So some possible interventions could be one-on-one support from a tutor, therapy or medication if needed, and also extra support from her parents, who should be engaging Rhea in activities to support her cognitive processing. Stage 2, Infancy and Toddlerhood. The APGAR is a set of criteria that can determine the state of health of a newborn baby. It stands for appearance, pulse, grimace, activity, and respiration. When Rhea was born, she scored a 6, which means that she was in the moderately depressed category and needed extra support. For fine motor skills at 8 months old, Rhea is able to pull herself up to stand and has also mastered her pincer grasp. The next motor skill stages for Rhea are that she should be able to play patty cake, walk all by herself and make a little block tower, and lastly, create her own scribble art. Can't wait to put that on the wall. Stage 3, Early Childhood. So according to Piaget's adaptation theory, kids grow up creating schemes, which are things that they use to make sense of the world around them as they interact with their environment. With assimilation, the schemes that have been created are used to interpret what's going on in the outside world, and with accommodation, old schemes are changed in order to match up with the reality of the world. So new schemes are created. And ultimately, all of this helps children kind of gain an accurate portrayal of the world, which is described as cognitive equilibrium. With assimilation and accommodation, Rhea was able to learn the difference between animals that are kept as pets and animals that are used for food. Stage 4, Early and Middle Childhood. There are 3 stages of fine motor control. Scribbling, which happens around infancy to 2 years old, first representational forms, which happens around 2 to 3 years old, and more realistic, which happens around 5 to 6 years old. So now Rhea's in the more realistic stage of drawing, and she's around 7 to 8 years old according to her newest picture. She's replicated how the Flash is running, she shows spatial awareness with the buildings and the sun, and overall this looks very realistic and conventional. Here we have some of Rhea's older work, and she was definitely around an infant to 2 years old when this was done, as it's scribbling, and she's kind of just letting the highlighter dictate what she does and just messing around. Stage 5, Education and Cognitive Development. There are 4 different educational philosophies. The first is the traditional classroom, where the teacher provides a typical lecture-like format. The next is a constructivist classroom, where students form their own opinions and discover new knowledge on their own. There's a social constructivist classroom, where students engage with both peers and teachers to learn new ways of thinking and to enhance what they already know. And lastly, there's cooperative learning, where students work together in small groups and challenge each other's opinions, ideas, and come up with solutions together. I chose a social constructivist classroom for Rhea because I want her to be able to think critically while also experiencing equal footing with her teacher and peers. And I also like the idea that we can all learn from each other regardless of age. Stage 6, Adolescence to Adulthood. Erikson's theory of psychosocial development surrounds the idea that one's ego is key to helping them develop and contribute to society in positive ways. The identity versus role confusion stage surrounds the fact that if conflict is resolved in a negative way when a person is young, that person may feel directionless or stuck later on in life. James Marshall has 4 identity statuses. The first is achievement, where someone's chosen their direction from themselves, moratorium, where they're searching for their direction, foreclosure, where they've committed to a direction from the influence of someone else, and diffusion, where they don't have any direction. From Rhea's postcard, we can see that she's in the moratorium stage because she's exploring her options and debating whether or not to join an activist group. In her next postcard, Rhea talks about how she did decide to join that activist group, illustrating that she's reached identity achievement. Here are some of Rhea's adolescence to adulthood milestones surrounding her growth and different aspects of her development. For example, Rhea is more vulnerable to eating disorders compared to her male counterparts, and ultimately she may have experienced a period where she was not fertile. Lastly, here is Ria's report card and her school picture. Thank you so much for listening.